A number of government websites about HIV, LGBTQ+ people, and other public health topics went dark tonight following President Trump's executive order targeting gender ideology and DEI initiatives.
Information about HIV was removed from the CDC's website, and much of census.gov also returns error messages. And research on teen gender identity from the Youth Risk Behavioral Surveillance System no longer available. It's unclear if or when these pages will be restored.
President Donald Trump signed an executive order this week to ban transgender troops from the military. The order states those with a, quote, false gender identity cannot satisfy the rigorous standards necessary for military service. Trump is ordering the Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth to update the military medical standards within 60 days and fully implement the order in 30 days. The order is already facing multiple legal challenges. For more on this, let's bring in Captain Selena Quintanilla, a flight commander with the Peterson Space Force Base in Colorado Springs, also a member of Sparta, a transgender advocacy organization supporting and defending transgender military service members. Captain Quintanilla, thank you so much for joining us. We also want to say that these are your own personal opinions, not that of the military. Captain Quintanilla, your reaction to this executive order, considering the commitment that you've made to our country over the last 4 years?
Absolutely, right. So for one, I want to say thank you so much for having me here, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story. I got to say, I've wanted to join the military ever since I was a little kid. I come from a military family. Both my parents were Army enlisted. My mother serving 8 years active in the reserves, in the Army, being a nurse. And then my father serving 25 years as a combat veteran, did a tour in the 82nd Airborne Division and served in Iraq and Afghanistan. To me, service means everything to me. It means sacrifice. And when I look at my parents, I look at their example of the sacrifices that they made. And it was something that I wanted to continue on in my own way. So when it comes to this executive order, I understand a lot of the political elements behind it, but I have to say that I will continue to serve selflessly as much as I possibly can, because that is my duty and that is what I raised my right hand to do.
Captain Quintanilla, this executive order basically states that transgender members of the military, they're unable to medically serve. Do you believe that's true? Do you believe that you're able to do your job just as every other service member is able to do?
Absolutely. I've been maintaining, ever since the beginning of my military service, all of my medical readiness standards. Despite being on hormones and undergoing medical intervention, I am deployable. And at no point have I ever let my standards of excellence waver.
I would imagine it's difficult to dedicate your entire life to this career and now be thinking about possibly having to do something else.
I'll be honest, I never planned on leaving the military. And that's something that's very, very hard for me to wrap my head around. I had an ongoing joke with my father that, he served 25 years in the Army. I told him I was going to serve 26 just to get one over on him. So at this point, while the executive order doesn't have any specific details of the policy, whether or not there'd be a grandfather clause, whether or not there would be any other stipulations, I'm just going to continue showing up to work, lacing up my boots, and doing what I do best.
What does it feel like doing that exact thing, showing up, lacing up your boots every day, going in, knowing that the Commander-in-Chief and the Secretary of Defense don't support you?
It's certainly difficult. I'm not going to lie, but I feel a responsibility to showcase that I'm still maintaining the standards and I'm still excelling in my roles in my capacity as an officer in the United States Space Force.
Well, Captain Quintanilla, we appreciate your service for our country, and we also appreciate you telling us your story today. Thank you so much for joining us.